Right. Let's talk about reviews. So Google reviews affect rankings, and that should surprise anybody. Um, the number and the average score affects rankings. People ask frequently, well, what about Yelp reviews? Do those affect rankings? And the answer is kind of a maybe. And the reason why is it doesn't seem that Google cares about your average score in Yelp. But Google is looking at the text of Yelp reviews, and they'll look at the text of Yelp reviews to find other obscure related terms. So an example in law would be somebody who's a family law attorney. I think that's what the Google category is. So in your Google My Business listing, you have to pick from a hard-coded list of categories. And let's say you wanted to rank for child custody lawyer. That's not a Google category. What Google will do is if they see a search for child custody lawyer and their click history says, well, everybody searching for this looks for somebody local and it's clearly some kind of lawyer, they're then going to look in the text of your Google reviews and the text of your Yelp reviews for the words child custody. And if they find this, okay, well, this must be something this guy does because one of their clients mentioned that term in a review. So it's kind of funny that Google, who hates Yelp, would actually look at the Yelp review feed to help with their ranking, and it probably really burns them to have to do that, but by doing that they get exposure to a lot more content. So reviews matter. The text in reviews can matter and can affect rankings, but it's kind of a minor factor and it's only for obscure stuff.
Would that apply to Facebook reviews and other? I guess it's just Facebook. I don't think you do reviews on Twitter or anything, but or LinkedIn.
Yeah, I don't think that Google's able to pull Facebook reviews yet. They
Okay.
might be, but I don't think so. And at this point, I would say the number of reviews on Facebook for any given business compared to the number of views in Google and Yelp is probably a factor of 10 times smaller or more.
Right.
That may change in a year, right? But right
Right.
now, I think they're not ignoring it. The other thing about Facebook, because Google doesn't get some sort of structured feed from Facebook like they do from Twitter, if they want to extract stuff from Facebook pages, they have to write code to figure out what part of the page is the review and what is the number. And, so
Hmm.
they have to go look for, like, if you look at what we're looking on the screen here, if they want to pull out 4.0, they have to be able to figure out exactly where on the page that 4.0 would show up, and parse that out. And anytime Facebook made any little tweaks that are displayed, they'd have to fix it. So that's hard work for them. Because they have so many reviews already between Yelp and themselves, I don't think they're looking at Facebook for a while, unless they eventually get a structured feed from Facebook. But so number of reviews matter, and the average rating seems to matter a bit. What I see a lot though is I'll see people with pretty mediocre average reviews or even no reviews show up in a 3-pack because the links to the domain matter more, or other signals Google sees that they're a good fit. Maybe it's a more obscure search term that was used, and that site has that term on their homepage or in reviews or whatever happens to be. So the number and sentiment of reviews matter a bit, but you're really not going to see it be a big differentiating factor unless Google needs to choose 3 out of 500 businesses in that category to show. So in the newspaper world, it's probably not going to matter that much. It is going to matter click-through rate to you. So if somebody's moved to town looking for what newspaper should they follow or whatever happens to be, it's gonna be more of a brand awareness and credibility thing having good reviews than it is really a clicks from search thing. Let's talk about reviews, do's and don'ts. So totally fine to ask your own reporters for reviews. I would ask them to log in with their Gmail, not an email that has your domain in it. But that's all right if you need to boost up your reviews. Whether it's your reporters or anybody, don't ask a whole bunch of people at the same time for reviews. When Google sees you've been getting 1 review a week or 1 review a month for the past year, and then in 1 week you get 27 reviews, they're going to throw them all out because they know you went after people and you pushed hard to get them. So don't do anything where you're emailing 1,000 subscribers, ask them to all review at once. That's not going to work. Fine to get reviews on Yelp, but with Yelp especially, don't bother going after people who haven't reviewed a bunch of things already on Yelp. Yelp's going to hide those reviews to start with, and Google kind of does that as well. Google's not as good at throwing out the spam as Yelp is. but Google will probably get better as things move forward. So in terms of any review platform, the most important reviewers are ones that have reviewed a bunch of other businesses, because whether it's Yelp or Google, they're likely to think that's more likely to be legit than this guy, Joe, who's only ever reviewed one business and it's you. You're technically not allowed to solicit reviews from your customers or reward them by giving them a gift card or anything like that. The reality is, do it all you want, just don't let Google and Yelp know you did that, right? Don't advertise something on your site, but if you're looking to get a handful of new reviews, let's say you want to get your reporters to each write a review from their own Gmail account or whatever, because you need to build up 5 or 10 more reviews, fine to give them a gift card in person in the office, but you don't want Google and Yelp to know that you did that. Fine to ask for reviews from people at other newspapers in your consortium. No big deal. Don't go buying fake reviews. There's plenty of people out there that will do 100 reviews for you for X amount of money. Google can see through that, so can Yelp. Incidentally, in the technology section on Amazon, I saw a study recently that said that 60% of the reviews of like electronics stuff on Amazon are fake. 60%. So when you see that this Panasonic headset has 1,200 reviews, 700 of those were paid for by the person selling it. That's how bad the review spam problem is. It's horrific.